views expressed do not necessarily reflect those of KNLY 91.1 FM, The Boss, and affiliates.
Welcome everybody to Superhuman with Dr. V and Jason Phelps. Thanks to Carlos for that awesome intro. It looked really good, huh?
I like that.
Yeah, it's cool. Again, I'm excited to have our guest on today. Someone very, very well known to both Jason and I. My favorite restaurant in the Woodlands, or pretty much anywhere actually. We really, taken to each other because I really believe in a lot of, his cooking styles, and it's not just your typical chef. Yeah. It's all about like clean eating and sustainable, renewable food and good, clean food. And really, we have this mantra now that we should be following. It's like the cure is in the kitchen. We always talk about food is medicine, food is medicine. I think that cliche is getting kind of, overused, but the cure is in the kitchen. I mean, right now, perfect time to be cooking a lot more, right? But let me intro him real quick because, I really want to get to talking to him and ask him a lot of cool questions and have him tell you about Tris and his other restaurants. But basically, Chef Austin Simmons is a graduate of Le Cordon Bleu College of Culinary Arts. He's Texas-born, Texas-raised, and
If you consider Dallas, Texas.
Well, it is. It is.
South Oklahoma.
He started Dallas at the famed mansion on Turtle Creek, later at John Tassar's Modern Steak and Seafood, and today Chef Austin sources ingredients from all around the world and combines them with unrivaled technique and vision at Tris. Yeah. Curate, which I still haven't, we still want to book that, and now the kitchen in the Woodlands. The result is cuisine that's unmatched in the Woodlands, and I can vouch for that, and among the finest in Texas. One of the things I love is that family comes first to Chef Austin, and it's all over his website, and you can see it when you go into Tris. But
Tris is his daughter's name.
I'm about to.
So obviously family is very important.
Yeah,
right
quick
there.
personal story. That's what I was actually leading into this, and you didn't even know, but. When he first went into no, you're good. No, you're good. But it was a perfect segue.
Yeah.
So basically, when he first came into the clinic, he was wearing a Tris shirt, and my wife said, "Hey, do you work at Tris?" But this is the kind of guy, real humble, didn't say anything, didn't say on the show. He basically said, "Yeah, that's my daughter." Yeah. And so he was real humble, didn't boast or elaborate, and it wasn't until later she learned that what he meant by Tris is my daughter.
Yes.
So he said, "Man, why didn't you tell me that?" That was awesome, Chef Austin.
For as amazing of an artist as he is when it comes to food, he is way too humble.
Yeah.
So he knows that.
Yeah. Well, at Tris, you'll find Chef Simmons treats his team and restaurant. You can see it like his own family, which is why it's only natural that Tris is the name of his beloved daughter. The team is more than just family to Chef Simmons. They're the heart of the restaurant, partners in the success of everything at Tris. You feel it when you go into there. It's almost like when you go to Disneyland, like everybody there, you're not going to get bad customer service. Or Disney World. I mean, the customer service is just top notch.
Yeah, the front of house staff is as good as you'll find anywhere.
Anywhere. Without the dedication and partnership from the team, Tris wouldn't run with the same love and commitment that makes it so special to the community. Tris serves loyal customers and new guests a perfect experience through upscale food and drink, artful service, and finely tuned hospitality no matter the occasion. So it's our special occasion place, and anytime we want to go out, and we're going. I can't wait. We're going tonight. I'm super excited.
So those of you in the Woodlands who are going out, you will see us there tonight.
We'll be there eating. Now, do we have Chef Austin on yet? Okay, we're trying to get him on. So basically, I have a lot of questions, to ask him about his cooking techniques, and like I said, he's not just your typical chef. Right. And I've seen the transformation from working with both Jason and I. He's not. I think we should really, you always have that. You've heard that saying of never trust a skinny chef. I think it needs to be, updated, and you never trust an unfit or unhealthy looking chef.
Exactly right.
And Austin, man, he's ripped, man.
Those guns are coming, aren't they?
He's been looking really, really good,
looks
and I've seen
great.
the transformation ever since he started working training wise and nutrition wise with y'all, and then us on health and wellness. But basically, I'll kind of maybe jump ahead.
Sure. Well,
and
I do know one thing we can definitely cover without him
Sure.
on this, and that's something that his restaurant is. They have the ability to cook allergen free, and that's something that's very important to a lot of people. And for those of you that know me and know me and my wife's background, my wife has celiac disease and has forever. So we're very limited in where we can go out. And it just so happens that they have the space and the ability to provide meals that are completely gluten-free. Not gluten-friendly, but gluten-free.
Gluten-free.
And even in their takeout service over the last couple months, they've been able to provide the same thing. So it's pretty amazing what they can pull off there.
he really transitioned very, very well, and I was happy to see him do it because we could still swing by and pick up Tris, to go, and it was really, really, really good. It was just as good as being there, except that I'm missing my Piedmontese steak, which I'm going to have tonight.
Yeah, we can't wait to
something
talk
I
about
really
that one.
want to ask him about. But specifically about steak, we were going to kind of talk about this a little bit, a little bit later in the show. But I really, really wanted to dispel, one of the big major myths about red meat, because here we're talking about healthy lifestyle. One of the things that's plagued our nutritional advice over the last 50 years has been the whole red meat scaremonger.
Absolutely.
The red meat can,
Misinformation.
fat. It's misinformation.
Misinformation.
Now
Absolutely.
you're actually seeing it. I mean, it's slow, but now the data is not. It's actually showing it
Exactly.
over and over and over not to be true. But it all had to do with two words: saturated fat. It was completely demonized, and basically the way it went is called the diet heart hypothesis or the lipid hypothesis. And they would say, you eat saturated fat, clogs your arteries, you get heart disease and cancer. And it's absolutely false. But everybody, you can be excused for believing it.
So let's talk about why that misinformation was put out there. And how were the studies misinterpreted, or how were they projected incorrectly to come to that conclusion?
There's a ton of reasons and a ton of agendas that were going on at the same time. So one of the biggest culprits was unfortunately Dr. Ansel Keys. Dr. Ansel Keys, meat was demonized for like I said, it's been demonized now in the last 50 years, but he's the one that came out with the diet heart hypothesis. He did this famous or infamous, however you want to call it, 7-country study, but he had 20 plus countries in it, but he left out the countries that ate high fat and didn't have high heart disease
And didn't support the
and
hypothesis.
didn't support his hypothesis, and he left them out. But basically, they zeroed in on saturated fat as a culprit, and the scaremongering actually it crumbles under the scrutiny now of science, of the science.
Absolutely.
He had really poor studies that the American Heart Association picked up and ran with, and almost overnight, saturated fat became bad, right? And bringing along with it even plant fatty foods like avocados, nuts, coconuts, but it was super, super oversimplified. A lot of these studies that you hear are bad are actually observational epidemiological studies, and they're all based on recall. So a lot of these studies that say meat's bad, well,
They're asking.
they're asking what you ate last month,
Yeah.
or give me,
How many times did you have a hamburger last month?
Yes.
Who knows?
But basically, it's too oversimplified. Heart disease itself, it's a very, very complex condition that involves not only cholesterol, because that was the whole thing. It was that saturated fat's going to raise your cholesterol, and that's the other part of it is a cholesterol myth. But it involves not only cholesterol, but inflammation, blood sugar, triglycerides, and a host of other factors. But first off, red meat isn't only saturated fat. It has a lot of different fats. Okay. The main saturated fat that red meat has is stearic acid, which is actually doesn't raise your blood serum cholesterol. 40% of the fat in beef is actually mono and polyunsaturated. A lot of people don't know that.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah. A lot of people, up to 40%. So that's the same fat that's in olive oil, seafood, nuts, things like that. We've been eating meat for as long as we've existed as a society. Okay. The dark side of meat right now, and we could say something bad that is bad right now, is factory farms.
Right.
There's a lot of CAFOs, factory farms. So factory farm meat that they're eating. I mean,
so when it comes to factory farms, what is the difference in the actual end product that we receive on our plate in a restaurant versus something you would see in a high-end beef program where
like Austin's,
grass-fed?
Grass-fed.
What is going to be the main difference in the product itself that we're going to consume?
First off, guys, grass-fed, grass-finished is not a ploy to make you pay more money.
Right.
It's very, very, very different meat. One of the biggest things I can point to is remember this saying. You remember, you are what you eat. Now it's really, you are what you ate.
That's right.
Okay, because you're eating downstream what they ate. Well, what they're feeding these cows now, it actually the omega-6 to omega-3 ratios, okay,
is what's thrown off.
It should be 1-to-1 omega-3 to omega-6. Okay, in grass-fed, grass-finished, it's 1-to-1. In feedlot beef, it's 1-to-7, and omega-6 is the inflammatory. Inflammatory omega fat. And so we've really, really shifted in. So you always hear about inflammation. There's a word now, inflammaging, because it's really one of the key factors now that causes our aging. But they're valid, personal. I understand, spiritual, religious, ethical, even environmental reasons for not eating meat, and that's fine. But they're not, however, good scientific or health reasons to avoid good quality, grass-fed, grass-finished, sustainable, raised meat in the context of an overall healthy diet. Okay, for all my vegan friends out there, that's stuff I'm. While I do recommend lots of vegetables as part of a healthy diet, there's never been a voluntary, 100% vegan, indigenous society in the history of the world.
I know they don't exist. And
in the history of the world.
In production of your wheats and of your vegetables and of your fruits, there's going to be collateral damage.
Yeah.
And then that a lot of times means that animals are getting killed during that process, correct? Is that where you're going with that?
Well, and understand, too, the term vegan wasn't even coined until 1944. So, yes, it's a relatively new deal, but like going back to the LDL, and we always hear LDL bad, HDL good. Some forms of saturated fat raise LDL or bad cholesterol, but saturated fat also raises HDL, which at the same time, which protects the heart. So now that we know a lot more about cholesterol and fats, saturated fat basically it creates what we call big fluffy LDLs. Big fluffy LDLs are non-atherogenic. In other words, they don't cause any plaque buildup. As opposed to small dense LDLs, which guess what causes small dense LDLs? Mostly sugar, refined carbohydrates, starchy food. So the culprit has always been fat, but it's actually what's raising small LDL, small dense LDLs that lead to heart disease is sugar, refined processed carbohydrate crap.
Exactly.
Crap, basically. Exactly. So yeah, I mean it's he's on. Awesome. Can we get our headphones on? Sweet. Oh, yeah. All right. Austin, are you there?
What's up, man?
Oh, can you hear him? How are you doing?
Good, sir. How are you,
there he
doctor?
is.
Awesome. Better late than never.
Hey, man, this modern world of using these new platforms to talk to, you got to get used to them. Sorry.
Yeah. No, hey, not at all, man. Not at all. We're just happy to have you on. We've been just edifying you, like talking about you and Tris and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Tris is our favorite restaurant for lots of reasons. But I'm really interested into knowing just from the beginning, like what got you interested in cooking in the first place? Where did all that start?
It was kind of a means to an end. High school was a big party for me, and I didn't really have a direction and where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do. A bit ADD as a child. Still am. I think that's why I excel in the kitchen. But I always loved to cook from my stepmother, my mother, my Mima, who raised me at a child daycare center in her home, and she cooked an old cast iron pan style home cooking, and I was always intrigued by it. But Dad's like, "Where are you going to go after high school?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm just going to keep working. I don't plan on going back to school." And he's like, "No, you're going to do something." And I'm like, "Okay." So, long story short, culinary school, the Cordon Bleu came on TV. I loved watching Emerald Live and Great Chefs, Great Cities. And I said, "Look, I'm going to go to culinary school in Austin." And he's like, "You want to be a cook?" And I'm like, "Actually, I kind of want to be a chef, but yes, I'm going to be a cook." I packed up everything I owned. I moved to Austin. I went to culinary school, and book work for me was a challenge as I was younger. I had a hard time channeling the ADD, but I fell in love with cooking. So what's awesome is when you have ADD and your mind goes 1,000 different places. If you're passionate about something, you can lock in on 4 or 5 different things at one time. And it's actually an advantage for me in the kitchen. I can be working something in the oven, something on the stove, something in the steamer, while chopping something, and I just have this automatic brain clock of when things are ready.
Yeah, I'd burn everything.
Well,
And,
we might. He
so,
wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
I
got
would.
to Austin, and I fell in love with it. And I was in the top 2% of every lab class in the cooking part of it.
Cool.
We've talked about this before, and Austin and I, and there's one part of his story that I want to make sure he shares, and that's the persistence that came with trying to get into the industry. And it wasn't something that came easy to you. And, if you don't mind telling people what it was like trying to get that first job. And
Yeah, I had no restaurant experience at all. I started working at 15, but I was mowing the soccer fields that I played on. And culinary school, at the end of it, you have to do an externship to get your associates, and you need to spend 3 months in a restaurant. So the saucier at the mansion on Turtle Creek came to speak to our graduating class. He was talking about, I grew up in Arlington. The mansion's in Dallas. I'd never heard of it. We were very middle class at best. So this was in the internet days. They're starting to boom in 2006. I looked up the mansion on Turtle Creek. He talked about it. He said, we sometimes take some externships. I'm like, look, I can go live with my mom and go do my externship because I know it's not going to pay much. Mind you, I was delivering milk all through culinary school. I got up at 3 a.m., delivered milk for Oak Farms, and then went to school from 12 to 5 every day. I was making $17 an hour. This is 2006. I drove to the mansion on Turtle Creek the first Friday. I valeted my car at the front. I'd never been to a hotel like this in my life. I was so ignorant. I walked up to the front desk and I said, I'm here to apply for a cook externship. And she said, where did you park? And I said, I valeted out front. And she said, oh my God, sir, you got to get in your car and drive to around back to security and wait through security to apply here. This is not how you do this. And I was like, okay. So I waited through security. They gave me a tour and said, look, you just don't have any restaurant experience. You don't start at this level. You need to get into a more of a chain restaurant, learn knife skills, get used to the kitchen before you come here. I said, okay, drove back to Austin, and I drove right back the next Friday, waited through security for the chef. On the 5th Friday, long story short, on the 5th Friday, after turning me down, they made me wait 2 hours and 45 minutes. They came out there and they said, look, you're not going to go away, are you? I said, no, I want to work here. But really and truly, I just hated people telling me no. And I had no idea how nice the place was. But anyways, they said, we'll give you a job, an externship at $7.45 an hour. And I said, holy smokes. Okay. My mom actually went back to work a second job to help me with gas money to get to the mansion on Turtle Creek. I don't tell that story a whole lot. But I couldn't even afford gas in my Suburban to get to the mansion on Turtle Creek. And I got paid $7.45 for 2 years. If I'd have known what I'd known now, I'd have done it for free. But it was probably a 10-year education in about 6 months because of the brigade the mansion was and how many different chefs you got to learn from. And I'm very blessed to have had that experience early on in my career. I was 18 years old, and it really catapulted my career for sure in a really tough industry. So that's the kind of how that went down.
That's something that, when I heard it the first time, it made me laugh, but, it's something that now it really helps shape your character. And I see it now in the restaurants and what you're doing currently. that work ethic never changed. And, you know, it's really a pleasure to see. And so I think one of the main reasons we had you on today is to kind of talk about what's been going on in the restaurant industry currently.
Yeah.
And, you know, with the COVID-19, you know, you went through something that no chef has really ever gone through before. You care to talk about kind of what that looked like 3 months ago versus today, and what you see going forward?
Yeah, you know, I think overall we operate 3 different concepts in our restaurant group: Black Walnut Cafe, the kitchen, and Tris, and Curate. So I guess Curate would be 4th. That's our tasting menu restaurant. You know, we've always been in the to-go business in our casual restaurants, the kitchen and Black Walnut. It was a pretty easy transition from the standpoint of, hey, we already know to-go packaging. We already know how to spec our food out in to-go-ware. We already know how to take those orders, and a lot of our restaurants were already on third-party delivery. So it was, you know, we just ramped down and had to unfortunately lay off people at the casual end and just try to survive. Tris, on the other hand, I think it was the Sunday before the Thursday they closed everything down. I had such bad anxiety because I was watching high-end sales dwindle the 2 weeks previous to any shutdown. Mind you, we had the best year ever in this space. Hubble and Hudson days, market days, all of that last year when we rebranded to Tris. I mean, we were super blessed to have a great business. The restaurant was getting national, you know, recognition for the cow program that we launched. We were going to New York twice as a team in March. James Beard House. I mean, just couldn't have been in a better position as a restaurant. Our January and February were unbelievable. And then I watched our sales just crash 2 weeks before it all got shut down. And I said, you know, this isn't going to work. If we got any chance, it's saving our management team at minimum to some sort of relaunch. We better figure something else out. And I've got production experience in the means of heating food, chilling food, retherming food for, you know, my days in the market with Chef's Case and those, you know, caterings and different things. So me and Mr. Perry, the GM here, we said, look, we got to get out of what we're doing right now. We got to pivot. We got to change everything, and we got to do it now. I wrote the menu for our takeout at 3 o'clock in the morning, Sunday night, and we never looked back. We shut the restaurant down on Wednesday or Tuesday afternoon, and we were fully operational online ordering to-go business Thursday morning.
That's incredible.
And thank God we did, because it's the only reason we survived. It's the only reason we were able to pay our management team, and we brought back about 18 hourly employees within 2 weeks. In that time period. It's just fine dining food does not work to go side. It doesn't. You have to know what reheats well, what holds, and what has value in a market where, quite frankly, people are no longer lighting money on fire.
That's right.
You know, so
one thing I can attest to is the quality. While the food may have changed, the menu may have changed during these past couple months.
Quality didn't.
The quality did not. Yeah. You know, and the times that we brought food home to the house, which was just the highlight of the past 2 months, it was outstanding.
Yeah.
You know, and I think everybody I talked to that went in and got takeout from there, including yourself, Willie.
Yeah. Every weekend.
It was the highlight of the week. You know, it was.
We get extra for the week.
Yeah, no more chicken and rice for a couple days. I get ribs. Yeah. Oh my God, this is fantastic. But the quality did not suffer in any way whatsoever.
Or the service. The girls at the front were awesome. And now, how do you see? I know we're open. We're excited. And, you know, you're opening up tonight again. How do you see restaurants in kind of the food industry, the restaurant industry, moving forward? Any like specific changes? I don't like to use the word new normal.
Right.
You know, I don't like that. But how do you see things changing? You know, hopefully, you know, improvements. You know, with things moving forward. You know, I would hope with a lot of not you specifically, but just with the industry itself.
Right.
Yeah, I think the unorganized operations that haven't put a lot of this stuff that you're going to see now in the forefront previously aren't going to make it, unfortunately. You know, and I hate to say that or hear that for anybody's livelihood, regardless of how they operated. I can tell you, that me and Mr. Perry's message in our training the last 2 days, that we've closed the last 2 days to reset, retrain our staffs on what we believe is the most important thing going forward. We were always in the TRIS design geared towards best food, best service. We wanted to chase best restaurant in the state. We wanted to go national. We wanted the Woodlands to have a national accredited restaurant in the Woodlands. I mean, we are a very upper,
ambitious,
ambitious, influential community.
Yeah.
You know, we need a national accredited restaurant here, and that was our goal to provide it. And I think we did a really good job at getting there in a year.
Yes.
And that's what we preach to our team. Our service and our food has to hold a coin nationwide. Our new message to our team is even though our service and our food are as important as they've ever been to us, our first priority is making our guests feel safe in our restaurant,
Right.
period, and our employees.
So what are some of the changes we'll see that kind of are going to reflect that? Or may not see, but what are some of the changes you guys are focusing on?
Well, we've got new positions that in the restaurant, like a full-time sanitizer position. They will be going around and sanitizing all contact surfaces throughout the shift. We have sanitizer stations built in every dining room. We have a sanitizer station as you walk in. We're taking all the temperatures of all the staff as they come in. We're asking them very specific questions on how they're feeling and how their night was previously before they even enter the restaurant. Our plates are changed some, where before we had shareable sides, for instance,
Right.
as far as the food goes. There's no longer shareable sides. If you pick a steak at Tris, your plate, you get a choice of one side that will already come on a plate, so we minimize that contact at the table.
Oh, that's awesome.
The front of the house and the back of the house will all be in masks and gloves, so will the management team. And those are just some of the steps we've taken to ensure that the guests feel safe in our restaurant. We have throwaway menus. We have a QR code for our wine list. You open your phone, put it on its video app. It takes a picture of the QR code, and you pull up our wine list on your mobile device.
That's awesome. That's cool.
We're going to bring you a sanitizer wipe when you sign the check, and you're going to be able to sanitize your hands immediately after you touch a pen that our server has given you. We are trying to tackle every contact point in the restaurant and making sure that guests feel safe and that our partners feel safe in our restaurant. And we're going to ask that our guests and our customers that come here participate in that. This is not just on the restaurants, guys, and it's important for the listeners to understand. I'm not going to check every guest's temperature at the front door. I just don't think that's feasible, nor is that the right thing to do. But if you're not feeling well and you have a temperature, please don't go to restaurants.
Right. Please don't go anywhere.
We're going to ask our diners to participate in that as well. You know, in the fast casual world at the kitchen, if you're familiar with that concept, there's no beverage machine right now. You can't go up and click and pick your favorite Fanta, right? We have already specced out cans of soda ready. They're cold for you. We have iced tea and tea in each dining room, but we're able to provide sanitizer wipes for when you have to touch that tea urn. At the soda machine, we're just not able to do that, and you can't social distance the route to the patio, so we shut that beverage machine down. There's no standing there. We're going to provide you ice at the register. We're going to run food at the kitchen for the first time ever. I don't want people to have to get up and cross the people in the line to come to the window and pick up their food. I want a partner on the team that has a mask and a set of gloves on to deliver your food to the table. We're putting all the silverware in wrapped packages, so there's no communal silverware touch. I'm going to go ahead and tell you the biggest change at the kitchen, which is going to shock a lot of people if you're a big fan, but we have remodeled the store, and we're in the process of that currently. We've put some improvements in the store, but we've gotten rid of the communal salad bar and soup bar.
Oh my gosh.
Completely gone.
I just care about the Piedmontese.
Yeah.
Ready for that.
Oh my gosh. I can't wait to see it.
We don't feel that communal self-served entities are important in this pandemic. We need to control that. And people touching ladle after ladle on a communal salad bar just isn't something we're willing to try to manage. So The good news is we have beautiful chef-inspired salads there now.
I can tell you, I know of one person very intimately that's going to be very upset that the salad bar is gone. But she's gonna have to live. She's gonna have to live.
We'll still have the soups that we've come to be known for over there. They'll just be prepared for you by the employees who are practicing safe measures and not.
And we want to stress to everybody, y'all can tell that there's a lot of thought, if you haven't been listening, that has gone into everything. But again, everything is new. Just like at the hospital. At the hospital, it changes daily. We're doing the best. We've not ever had to do this before. Right. So learning as we go. With the data that we have. But real quick, I want to kind of shift over, and I'm not making this up. Also, when I say I have dreams,
no, he is not.
Yeah, about eating a Piedmontese steak. I really. This is at
least the 6th time I've heard this in the last week, Chef. Just so you know.
I want everybody to know, because I'm real interested, even me personally, on like how that all came about, the breeding program, that steak. I crave it.
Yeah, and Carlos, if you have can you find a picture of what those cows look like, the Piedmontese?
Piedmontese, yeah. So how did that all come about? And tell us a little bit about that, specific, breeding program that you have. Because I understand, when we talked last, you had gone up to A&M, and we're meeting with everybody up there. So how did all that come about?
Well, I think Piedmontese. What we went up to A&M for was the Heartbrand X, the breedback cows. We just had no efficiency. That was what we really launched that has taken off for us. I chase genetics that are healthier to eat genetically. I mean, I heard you guys talking before I got on. I was listening to the show. The Wagyu genetic has a positive ratio of monosat to sat fat genetically. Okay. Regardless of how you feed the animal, it has a positive ratio, and it has a high percentage of oleic acid found intermuscular. So it's like olive oil, essentially. Piedmontese is an expansion of all of that, and just looking at a genetic that's healthier to eat, regardless of the feed. You can only spec so much feed control in the United States.
Look at that cow on screen. Austin, I don't know if you can see that or not, but that is, if Willie and I were cows, that would be our breed.
Yes.
That's it right there. Look at the muscle on that thing.
Yeah.
That's a good looking.
But again, the fat content, the number one, don't be afraid of it, but, elaborate, what you're elaborating on.
So really it's just in the Piedmontese genetic, you're still getting this big muscular cow with 40% reduction in fat, but you still have the tenderness because of the way it deposits muscle. It has an inactive monostatin gene that deposits muscle fiber differently than a normal genetic. And so you get as tender, if not more tender, and you don't need all the fat. I think there's a misconception with beef. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, everybody thinks fat is flavor. And it is to a certain extent. There is flavor in fat. But if you render out fat, intermuscular fat, and you taste it, you're not going to have a pleasant experience.
Right.
Okay? Fat is the vehicle to create what's chemically called the Maillard reaction and the browning process of foods, whether that be beef, bread, any of that. And it's the natural sugars intermuscular caramelizing the protein. So you need that addition of fat in order to get that good caramelization. For instance, on the Piedmontese genetic, that fat is absent, so we have to apply fat to that steak to get that reaction to take place. That is the flavor, and fat helps you achieve that. But what we have found in these older animals that that have lived on grass their whole life, and they're breeding back and creating evolution, they think it's taboo in the States to eat that. You just grind it and put it in bad ground programs. But what we have found is that we take that animal and we feed it a little bit differently at the end of its life, and we age it with a modern approach to aging. We get the tenderness there, and it's way more beefy than any marbled steak ever thought about being. So the Piedmontese came about with me trying to source genetics that are just better for you to eat as a whole.
Another
I
reason.
think a lot of people.
Another reason that I love Tris, again, it's
the thought that goes into
that goes into this, guys, and that's, as our listeners, that's what I want you all to understand, because people, for the most part, don't know how bad feedlot beef is, and what they're even fed. You know, I heard you talking about what they're fed. You know, it's legal to feed feedlot beef Skittles, candy. There was a famous flatbed truck that flipped over. It was in the news, and it had Skittles all over the road, and it was on its way to feed a bunch of cattle. The head of the Livestock Association, 2018, said that because corn prices were so high, that they were feeding them, it was cheaper, they were feeding them candy and corn syrup, candy that was on its way to the landfill. And there's videos of these cows eating that with the wrapper still on them.
Yeah.
So I mean, the stuff that's allowed
Yep.
from feces to certain amount, you know, certain types of soy, the highest commodity, soy, corn, all the commodity.
And you were exactly right when you said you are
what
your
ate,
food eats.
Yeah.
And that's
So I think it's very important to elaborate on feedlot beef a little bit here. Look, not all feed yards are bad.
Yeah, no,
Right.
oh,
Right
no,
now.
not at
And
all.
With the absence of feed yards, you wouldn't have cattle programs in the States, period. So it's a necessity. We are working with a specific feed yard now, and you'll be seeing that in the relaunch of Tris. The guy's fully sustainable, third generation, family-owned farm. He grows his own wheat, his own corn, and then he takes the husk off of the byproduct, and he ferments it underground with molasses. He's got these tarps. They're hundreds and hundreds of yards with tires on. He digs down in the ground. He ferments all the stocks, and then he feeds these animals that fermented byproduct as a probiotic to help their digestion. So what happens in bad feed yards is that a cow will eat 40 pounds of corn a day if you let it. So they just, and the more corn they eat, the fatter they get, right? So they just overfeed and feed too fast, and they blow out the cow's livers, and then the cow gets sick. And then when the cow gets sick, we have to administer steroids and antibiotics. So if we feed more roughage, and we feed them out slower, and we put some probiotic in their diet, we don't blow their livers out. We still get good marbling out of the animal, but we're not making the cows sick in the process. And
much
that's
healthier
what I'm
animal.
chasing now. Is
and the quality of life for
with-
that animal as well. They're going to be
working with a feed yard that's practicing a different 3 times a feed a day, slower fed out, more roughage in the diet, more hay, more natural grass, those things, instead of pump them full of corn twice a day.
Yeah, I think Carlos just threw a picture up on the screen. If you can see it, that's the Skittles. That's
all over the road,
all covering the road.
That was a famous thing. But again, just like you said, not all feedlots are bad, but the majority of them don't have the thought like that you're describing go into them. And again, because it's a give and take. It's like, how do we feed a large amount of people? But then again, at some point we have to start going, are we hurting or helping?
Right.
Are we hurting? Is it making the health better or worse? And again, the quality of the meat is the difference. And again, not the demonization, the narrow-minded demonization of saturated fat or this fat or cholesterol, that we've always followed. And again, even the guidelines, it's so confusing because even the guidelines, they still tell us to limit saturated fat. The American Heart Association, and
Hey, Chef, how much attention do you pay to those type of guidelines that come out nationally from organizations like that? Is that something that you actively read and pursue knowledge in that, or is it just kind of, are you going more by your feel on what food should be offered?
Yeah, my future is not necessarily on that side, but just genetics that are healthier to eat, and that, quite frankly, provide consistency. At the end of the day, guys, if you want to be a good restaurateur in the United States, you have to have a consistent product. And so I don't care if I have the healthiest product or the most unhealthy product. How you stay in business is having a consistent product. So my goal is to find genetics that are something I can stand behind, put our restaurant's name behind. I can have my team talk about at the table that have some values that I believe in, which are better for you to eat, and then just highlight that and stick with trying to work on the supply chain, because that's the problem, right? A lot of people don't have the ability to work on where that supply comes from, and you may get one thing one week and the next week you're getting something totally different, and it comes from the same supply. So that's where I put our focus.
Speaking of that, I want to give a shout out to your blueberry farm up in Huntsville. You know, we were very lucky to have that blueberry cobbler come out in your in your COVID menu, takeout menu. And I don't know if you want to talk about that program at all, but I love the fact that you're sourcing from farms right here.
Yeah, Wade Capro, Makewood Farms Plantation, Huntsville. The blueberries are ready this week. You can go hand pick them yourself. They'll give you a gallon bucket. They're going to ask you to sanitize your hands, and then you go out and pick your own gallon of blueberries. Look, these things, they're huge. They're like the size of a dime. I've never seen blueberries. In my opinion, Texas, the best thing that comes out of Texas soil is a blueberry. That is a fact. We have good peach seasons once every 5 years, depending on if we get enough cold air in the wintertime. So we grow blueberries here in our region better than anything else that's grown in Texas, period.
There you go.
So I highly suggest go up to Makewood Plantation and pick your own blueberries and make a simple preserve or a compote or quite frankly just put them in your oatmeal with some sweetener or whatever you like.
Yeah, you know, do you know if that's something you can do during the week, or is that something that's weekend only?
He's open 5 days a week. Yes, sir.
Awesome.
And on the weekends too, I think. You can check him out, Makewood Farms Plantation on Facebook. But you can go up there any day of the week, I'm pretty sure, but Sunday, and he may be open Sunday during the season.
And is that going to be something that stays on the menu going forward? Is there anything new and exciting for people to look forward to?
Yeah, so we're launching Heart Brand X for the first time, which is our Wagyu breedback program. And one of the things to note about Wagyu, guys, is you can take the rendered Wagyu fat and put it in a wine glass and put it next to normal beef fat, Angus, and put it next to pork fat, and Wagyu is the only one that won't solidify room temperature.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And so you talk about, artery clogging and those different things. That's where that monosat really comes into play.
More importantly, is it available tonight?
Yes, it's available tgoing
Awesome.
We have another beef program coming out that will be on the menu tonight. We'll keep that under our hat. We're going to bring back Piedmontese as soon as the supply calms down. We don't get that here locally, so that will come back on the menu. But there's a lot of new stuff at Tris. I think people are going to be surprised. Our goal for Tris was to still maintain the high quality, but provided a little different value. We understand right now that people are struggling. We understand that. There's a lot of lost jobs out there, and we don't only want to serve just people on their special occasion, and we don't only want to just serve the top 2%. So you're going to see a very different menu tonight than what Tris was when it closed. We're really excited about it. We have things on the menu that we've never had here before. We're doing ribs, as you spoke, Jason. We're doing for the first time in my career, I've put an Indian inspiration on the menu on the dish.
I can't wait.
Dish on the menu. Excuse me. Kaiser from Himalaya in Houston is one of the restaurants in Houston that I personally crave. And I had an idea to do vindaloo barbecue sauce, and he kind of helped me work through it. I think Indian is the next fusion in barbecue. I think that will be the new trend here in the next 12 months.
Awesome.
So tonight
Austin,
you have a vindaloo barbecue glazed rib.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, bud, we have one commercial break that we have to take from our sponsors, and we'll be back with you in about 1 to 2 minutes.
Okay. So.
We'll be right back, guys.
I'll be right back.
Turn on your glam today. The Jenna Klein collection is here, elaborated with natural products. Give yourself a compliment with our organic lip glosses in more than 15 shades. With the Jenna Klein Lip Gloss collection, you can hydrate your lips and keep that glamorous look that you need. Turn on your glam. Visit jennaklein.com. And don't forget our skincare collection with natural ingredients that will improve the skin's appearance and prevent visible signs of aging. We have everything you need to achieve smooth and vitalized skin. jennaklein.com. Turn on your glam today.
This was a proud sponsor of
Cupcakes
KNLY
and Bubbles,
91.1
located at 26400 Kirkendall Road in Tomball, Texas. Cupcakes and Bubbles has the sweetest and most delicious cupcakes for the entire family. From chocolate raspberry, strawberry rhubars, cookies and cream, and the most popular among kids, the s'mores cupcake. Come and enjoy our cupcakes with a glass of your favorite bubbles. Visit www.cupcakesandbubbles.com for the complete list of our delicious cupcakes. Order online through our webpage. DoorDash and Uber Eats is available too. Enjoy life's sweetest moments with Cupcakes and Bubbles.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
It started as a dream. When I was a little kid, I always wanted to have my own restaurant, and it was a dream that finally we had the opportunity to build it here in the Woodlands, and I'm so happy with it.
It's a really authentic Italian food. I try to maintain the most original possible. It's very important. Every day I make my fresh pasta.
Chi mangia bene, mangia italiano. Please come and visit us.
This was a proud sponsor of KNLY 91.1 FM.
And we're back, guys. We're going to finish out with Chef Austin Simmons. And
Yeah.
what are we?
Man, you know
finish out
what?
with?
There was another thing I wanted to talk to Chef about, and I know that he's been working these crazy, like 14-hour shifts, you know, all day, every day. Just he's always been a hard worker, working crazy hours, but these past couple have been really nuts. What have you done to take care of yourself during this time? Because that's something that, you know, we work on together, and especially my wife. She does Austin's nutrition and all that stuff, so we're very interested in how he's been able to maintain. You know, what's your diet been like? What's your training been like during this time?
Yeah, you know, I don't. Before I started working with Rebecca Phelps, I was sick all the time, and my digestion was probably the worst of any human, and I just dealt with it for years and years and years. I've always had a really high-paced, high-stress job. I am ate up with my work, and I always have been. So, you know, I started working with Rebecca. It's actually going to be a year, I think, in June. And she has completely fixed my digestion through food. I mean, I was going to have surgery. And it just wasn't a surgery that I was going to be able to have and stay on my feet and do my job. And Rebecca was like, hey, why don't we track your nutrition for a minute and kind of see what your body doesn't like and omit it. And we have, and it's been amazing. My world has changed completely for it. I no longer have digestion problems. I no longer need surgery. I no longer get fatigued during my day. I can honestly say that this time through COVID has been the most stressful time in my life, from a person standpoint, that I have people that rely on me to feed their families. I have gone to bed with that on my mind since day one of this, and I have worked tirelessly. I started yesterday at 4:30 in the morning on my computer. I finished last night at 9:30. I worked the first 3 weeks with the team at Tris with 1 day off, and I still worked out on average 3 days a week in my garage, thanks to you guys. And my nutrition has been 100% on point. I've had one drink alcohol in 2 months.
That's amazing.
I have supplemented based on the plan that Rebecca's had me on. I have never fallen out and not been able to continue to make good, clear decisions, making sure that we were doing the best we could for our people and our customers. And I've never had a bigger plate. And I would assume, to be honest with you, because any time I ever ran my system down before and I got overly tired, you can bet immediately I'd have a sinus infection. I mean, it never failed. Lack of sleep, I would get a sinus infection. I haven't gotten sick once since this started, and I've never put in more work with as much stress as I have on my shoulders.
Well, we talked about it earlier. We've seen the transformation in you, over the past year from when you started seeing me and started seeing, Jason and Rebecca. And I mean, this guy's ripped, guys. I mean, you really are. I mean, you look great. And I made the statement earlier, so you need to start kind of being the model for chefs moving forward. Yeah. And instead of being, never trust a skinny chef, like never trust an unfit looking chef or a chef that doesn't look healthy. I mean, you're the epitome of that, and it goes to discipline. Yeah. Because it's very easy to say, hey, there's a lot going on, and put everything else on the back burner. But when you know how it makes you feel, and how your diet and how exercise and activity makes you show up in the world, it kind of more incentive to make sure you eat well. I'm hearing this on a daily basis, twice this morning from patients. They're sitting there going, man, I feel terrible. I've been eating terrible. I've been drinking more because I've been at home. And everybody knows what it is, but it's just it's their choice to.
It's somewhere along the line, it became socially accepted to just treat yourself because you were sad or depressed or anxious or whatever it may be. But we never really, none of us in this lifetime had experienced anything like this of total social isolation, and whatnot. So I think that was kind of a bad habit that a lot of people developed is, when I'm used to being alone or sad, I eat something to kind of mask that feeling. But when it's like that for 2 months straight,
yeah.
Boy, you've picked up some really bad habits.
I'm seeing patients that have
months,
gained 20, 30 pounds in 2 months.
You bet. And we've gotten more calls. Yeah, go ahead, Jeff.
I also, Willie, I mean, you guys have, with your help, and you just opened so many new doors for me on how well one can feel. I mean, look, if you want to be really good at something, your mind can be there, but if your body's not, you're never going to achieve it.
That's right.
And everybody's so worried about catching this virus right now, but the one thing that can protect you is your immune system.
Yep.
And if you get the virus, how you can fight off the virus is your immune system. So shouldn't we all be putting the best nutrition that we can possibly be putting in our body right now, so if we do get it, that we can fight it off?
Yeah, I've said that every week that we've been on the air. It's just that your immune health is going to dictate how resilient you are and how well you recover, period. If you look at everybody that's either, there hasn't been a completely healthy person that has gotten COVID and died. And that's, almost everybody has a comorbidity, even down to your 20 to 30-year-olds. What COVID has really done is it's really exposed how sick we are as a nation. We've said that before too. How poorly we eat, how stressed out we are, how poor our discipline is, how sedentary we are. I mean, it's a lot of factors. Again, that's why it's not just one thing; it's a lot of things. But yeah, I mean, again, we have to make that decision, discipline. But yes, work on your immune health.
And Chef, there's one last thing that I wanted to give you a chance to kind of talk about, and that was, something personally that I've been doing during this downtime is I've added to my meditation that I do daily. I've also added a gratitude journal here over the last couple weeks, and I know that each morning I start with that, and that kind of has given me a really good way to kind of start my day. And I'm sure over these last couple months there's been some people who have really gone out of their way to try and make your life easier, try and make your life better, try and support the restaurant. Is there anybody, any people that you want to say thank you to while you've got this opportunity before you relaunch tonight?
Well, I think first and foremost, my wife for putting up with what I've had to put in the last 2 months, and for my team's husband and wives who have had to, miss their spouses while we fight out here.
Yep.
I mean, this is a grind. This is a different world for the restaurant business. What I tell people that call me and are like, Chef, how are you doing? What are you doing? Look, what you had before is over. It is gone. What business in this hospitality you had before is over, and it will never be the same. So to all the families of my staff, we've asked a lot out of them, and I'm super thankful to my ownership, Mr. Dirk Lauking, that has the optimism of there is a future. I mean, look, there are very few restaurants making money that are open right now, folks. That's the reality. Even if they're open, they're losing money. So, you know, it's going to be a lot worse before it gets better. And so, you know, I thank my ownership for being optimistic and giving us the opportunity to show up and fight. They could have closed the doors in all of our restaurants and said, go home.
SOL,
You're
buddy.
all laid off. And we've been able to feed our families and
feed a lot of
you guys,
families,
you
not
know,
just
Rebecca
your own.
and Willie and Jason for being that constant support. I mean, look, there's days that I don't want to do it, but you know, even yesterday, Rebecca was like, Chef, go work out. You know, like, you need that time for yourself. And I did, and I had a better day because of it. So, you know, I thank you guys for being there to support me through this. And then all the guests in the Woodlands that have shown up and supported. I mean, man, I knew Tris had made an impact, but I didn't know the impact it had made until the first 3 weeks we were closed. And the people that reached out and came and support us, even when they were having bad times. And there was a lot of people that came to support these restaurants, Tris, the kitchen, and Black Walnut as well, that quite frankly weren't really doing well for themselves, but it was important enough for all that we had done for the community over the years to support us in a time where we needed it the most. I mean, I can't thank those people enough, and you guys are some of those people, so thank you. And we look forward to getting back open. We look forward to providing a safe experience with good food and good service, and navigating our way through the new world with you guys. And you know, that's,
what are the hours going to be here at Tris, and what's the schedule like at the restaurants right now?
So Tris is going to be open Tuesday through Thursday, and we'll open for dinner service only on Tuesday through Thursday. We'll open at 5 and we'll be closed at 9.
Okay.
On Fridays and Saturdays, it's 5 to 10. Dinner service only. We are not relaunching lunch at Tris as of now, and we're not relaunching curate at Tris as of now. Okay. So we need to focus on dinner service only for a while until we get, you know, maybe some occupancy open back up. The team feels comfortable. We get enough people back to work, because, you know, the reality is unemployment is hurting small business. I mean, some people don't want to come back to work right now because they don't feel safe, and quite frankly, they're making good money on unemployment. So we're struggling with that. At the kitchen, we're closed on Sundays and Mondays at Tris. It's reservation only right now, and you can see all of that online. An open table, or you can go to triswoodlands.com.
And the kitchen?
The kitchen is gonna be open breakfast, lunch, and dinner 6 days a week, not 7. We're gonna close down on Mondays to clean and sanitize.
Awesome.
We're gonna be doing that every day, but we wanted one stagnant day that we could give the team a break and make sure that we had the proper planning for the next week. They open at 8 a.m. and close at 9. And then Saturday, Sunday, they will open at 7 and close at 9. And a Black Walnut here in the Woodlands follows that same mantra of the kitchen. So they'll be closed on Mondays, but they'll follow the breakfast, lunch, and dinner schedule. Black Walnut's already open. Opened 2 days ago. Tris will open tonight, and the kitchen will open tomorrow, pending the construction finishes up. But I was just over there, and I think we're looking good.
Awesome. Well, man, we appreciate your time. This has been fantastic, and we can't wait to see you tonight. And I'm sure we'll have a great time.
Yeah, I urge everybody within, driving distance here to try to make the trip out here. To really, it'll be worth your while if you can be patient, because I'm sure the reservations will be packed here.
Yeah. Good luck.
Good luck. But again, it'll be well worth the wait. And again, we're so thankful to have had Chef Austin on, and we enjoy everything you do, and we look forward to the future of all 3 restaurants.
Hey, thank you guys for all you do for people. That shouldn't go unknown, Mr. Willie and Jason. You guys are really helping people live healthier lives, and it's changed my life. And I really can't stress enough to people. And just by the regimen y'all have given me, I've changed a lot of other people's opinion, and they follow suit to that too.
The ripple effect.
So you're not just changing the people that you're touching every day, guys. You're changing other people that see that. So kudos to you guys.
No, thank you.
And keep doing what you're doing.
Awesome. Well, we'll look forward to seeing you soon. And everybody, head out to Tris when y'all
That's
can,
right.
and the kitchen,
That's right.
and Black Walnut.
And then go see Willie
Thank
at
you,
Core.
guys.
Come
And-
see me at
and-
Woodlands Contest Prep.
Yeah.
And we'll take care of you.
All right. Take care, guys. See y'all next
Bye-bye.
week.
It's time to change.